Hey everyone, Randy here, and I have to tell you about a growing epidemic among creators that I call invisible content syndrome. Picture this. You pour your heart, sweat, and hours of editing into an amazing long-form video, only to publish it and be met with total silence. The show you made is brilliant, but no one knows it exists because you didn't have the energy to turn it into snackable clips. It is honestly brutal, and you've probably assumed the cure is just making more promotional clips. But if you have ever tried that, you know it is almost as much work as creating the actual episode itself. Trimming, captioning, and reformatting for portrait ratio, it all adds up so fast that it feels impossible to keep up. That is the definition of invisible content syndrome in a nutshell. Luckily, there is a much less miserable route available to you right now. I have been using Vizard lately, and honestly, it feels like the ultimate antidote to this problem. This tool isn't magic, but it is smart enough to handle the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Rather than spending hours hunting for the best moments, the AI sifts through your long video to suggest clips that are ready to go. It even helps you schedule them, so you never have to wake up at 2 in the morning to post your work. Let me walk you through how I turn a full podcast episode into a stack of social-ready clips in just a few minutes. First, you open up the platform and simply upload your long-form video or podcast file. I usually start with the final mix, because the cleaner your original audio, the better your clips will look. Once it is uploaded, the auto-editing engine kicks in to analyze audio peaks and emotional spikes. It then proposes a handful of short segments that have the highest potential for engagement. You can click through these suggestions and instantly preview which ones are worth sharing. If you prefer more control, you can also highlight sections directly in the transcript. Whether you want the algorithm to do the heavy lifting or you want to manually mark the fire moments, you have options. Personally, I use a combo of both to ensure the AI gets the heavy lifting done while I keep my own gut feeling. Next, you create a new composition for each of your individual clips. I usually name them something simple, but you can also tag them for specific platforms like TikTok or Reels. Make sure you set the aspect ratio to portrait, as that is the standard for almost every short-form feed out there. The software automatically adjusts the framing so that faces and important visuals stay centered. This saves you from those awkward head cuts or weirdly cropped frames that look amateur. Now, paste your chosen snippet into the portrait composition and it will snap perfectly into place. If the clip feels a little bit slow, there are some subtle tricks you can use to make it pop. You can auto-shorten word gaps to make the pacing feel punchier and tighter. These tiny edits really change the energy of the piece without making it feel unnatural. I usually shorten those word gaps just enough so the clip breathes quicker, but still sounds like a real conversation. Captions are absolutely non-negotiable in this day and age. Most people are scrolling with the sound off, and captions significantly increase your retention. The platform auto-generates captions with very accurate timestamps, so you do not have to type anything out. You can pick from several pre-made templates to match your brand vibe, whether you want bold, subtle, or flashy. If you want to tweak the phrasing, the transcript editor is right there, making typos a 2-second fix. Visual engagement is king on social, so I always layer in a few extra elements. The built-in media library is packed with GIFs, stock clips, and royalty-free music. Drop in a subtle lower third to introduce the speaker or a background loop to keep things visually interesting. Finding what you need is fast. Just type in your keyword and drag and drop it into your scene. My pro tip is to keep it tasteful, because a clean caption style usually outperforms a chaotic mess of stickers. If you are used to tools like Premiere or CapCut, this platform feels much lighter but still incredibly powerful. Other suites are great, but they can be a bit clunky when you are trying to crank out 10 clips in a single hour. This tool hits a sweet spot by being smarter than basic editors but simpler than massive pro suites. Another huge time saver is the auto-schedule feature for your finished clips. Once you have your batch ready, you can set the posting frequency across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. The system picks the optimal times and publishes them for you automatically. This is a massive game changer for creators who are juggling sponsorships, episodes, and their actual lives. And then there is the content calendar, which is basically your entire editorial hub. You can see what is queued, reschedule posts with drag and drop, or bulk edit hashtags with ease. When you are working with a team, this keeps everything centralized and prevents launch chaos. One final thing I always do is give every clip a quick personality pass before it goes live. I tweak the titles, add a branded thumbnail, and drop a tiny call to action for the full episode. We are not trying to sell a car here, just simply nudging people toward your long-form content. Now don't get me wrong, this AI is not perfect and it sometimes misses the context of a joke. That is exactly why those manual transcript highlight options are so critical to your workflow. But for the vast majority of creators who want fast, consistent clips, this really reduces the time from hours to minutes. When you think about the pricing, it is really about the return on investment for your own time. The more you use it, the more it pays off because you are not grinding through manual edits every single week. To wrap this all up, if you have been letting your best work sit invisible, this is a real way to fix that. It is not about replacing the craft of making great episodes, but about making sure they actually find an audience. If you want to try this on your next episode, drop a comment below and let me know how it works out for you. And if you need a walkthrough, the Help Center has step-by-step guides that cover everything from edits to calendar management. All right, I am off to batch edit the rest of my show, because those nightmares about Baby Yoda won't narrate themselves. Catch you next time, and peace.